Hello, hello, hello. It's Wednesday night, the 11th of November, 2020, and it's 8 o'clock. We're live again. Good evening. Welcome to the next episode 2 live stream. This time round, it's going to be pay-per-view fishing channels, yes or no. So that's what we're going to be discussing tonight. Are they a good idea? Would you pay to watch a pay-per-view fishing channel? What do you think of them? Let's talk about that and see what the general consensus of opinion is. Before I get started, I'm just going to go to this side and pull a face. And that's going to be the thumbnail when I've finished. So by pulling a face, you can pretty much get a good idea of what I think of pay-per-view fishing channels. And I'm sure most of you are probably going to agree with me. Evening, Andy Clark. All right, mate. Good to see you again, Andy. I hope you're keeping well. I know it's not ideal, this lockdown situation. Still waiting to be able to get into your native Wales, mate, so I can go fishing. So I'm relying on you to tell me when I can go. So, pay-per-view fishing. Recently, Gary B, evening, mate. Good to see you along again. Recently, in the last couple of weeks, one or two people have started putting their content on YouTube behind a paywall, or starting a website and charging people £5 or £6 a month to subscribe to watch their content, which I thought was a bit sad, really. I suppose it's the way the world's going these days, like especially with the collapse of magazines, because let's be honest, the internet has completely killed fishing magazines, hasn't it? Carp Talk's gone, Carp World gone as well. Angler's Mail went a couple of weeks ago. Last issue was a week or two back. Like they're dropping like 9 pins, aren't they? And sites like YouTube just seem to be on a relentless rise. And people, I don't know, I suppose they're entitled to put their content behind the paywall, but I'm not a fan of it myself. I'm a bit old school. When I started fishing in the 70s, I've been fishing since I was 5 years old. 1972, I started, so not quite 50 years, like 48, something like that. You went fishing with someone who went fishing and who could show you the rope, show you how to tie a knot, tie your hook on your line, put your float on, set your weights and stuff like that. You went fishing with someone who knew, or you got a book, you read it in a book or something like that, or you watched Out of Town with Jack Hargreaves. You did things like that in the 1970s, and everything was pretty much free, apart from the fact that you'd have to buy a book, which was usually given to you as a Christmas present, so essentially free for you. Everything, nothing cost anything, and information was passed on freely. But it seems today like a lot of people are trying to make a living out of fishing, where there isn't really one, or I don't think there is. Coaching is one thing, people charging hundreds of pounds to teach someone how to tie a PVA bag, for crying out loud. And what gets me is people are paying it. You can go on YouTube and learn how to tie a PVA bag for free. And people are trying to stick content like this behind the paywall, or charge people hundreds of pounds to go on a session with them to learn how to do these things, and it's all available for free. I don't understand how they're managing to get away with it, to be honest. It's ridiculous. Feel free to put your own thoughts in the side, by the way, on the chat. If you've got any thoughts about this, then by all means, add your comments in. I know a few people have started what's called Patreon channels. Now, I've looked into Patreon myself and a few other things as well, but it's not for me. Patreon is a website and system whereby you start off on there. You have people join your Patreon page as members and pay, and Patreon takes a chunk of the money, and you take a chunk of the money. But at the end of the day, your content on YouTube is still free. So you're still making YouTube videos for people to watch for free, but you've got this Patreon page that you're expecting people to subscribe to. But there's nothing different about it. You're not allowed to charge. It's a breach of YouTube terms and conditions to actually charge people to watch videos, unless it's done through YouTube, of course. But on Patreon, you couldn't do it. So, you've got to be very careful with that, but you've got to offer something as well. So I think Carp Dog Leon's offering a draw for I think it was £100 a CC more base I saw before, just come up with my subscription feed. So, at least he's offering something to one lucky person. But is it enough to pay £5 a month or £6 a month? I don't think so. I got quite a shock when he put a video out announcing his Catch More Carp page. Made an announcement, dead excited. I'm really excited to bring you this project. Blah 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 blah. And basically, what he was saying was, I intend to charge you £5 or £6 a month for the stuff you've been watching for free, which had me falling over laughing. Now, I've never thumbed down anyone's video on YouTube. Anybody who makes a YouTube video and makes the effort to make a video and upload it, no matter how good or bad it is, they don't deserve a thumbs down for making an effort. But I thumbed that one down. Make no mistake. It's the first video I've ever gone and clicked thumbs down on. I just thought that was quite bad. And I certainly won't be paying to watch his content or anything like that, not when you can get it for free somewhere else. So there we go. Patreon is not going to offer you any more than YouTube does already. It only offers the chance for you to give money for free to the people creating the content on YouTube. It's a sick and twisted way of doing things, and it's not really a very good business model. Same with YouTube live streams as well. Like they do a lot of live streams on YouTube, and they're pushing them, and they're pushing people to say, you can pay or donate or give some money to the creator, put something back. But at the end of the day, it's just like it's trying to charm money off people. It kind of reminds me of those TV evangelists in the States where they just like get you to send money in and God will bless you kind of thing. It's just a complete fraud. So incidentally, if you're on this live stream, don't ever send me any money. You don't have to. I don't want it. Don't do it for the money. And I think that's always been my position on it. Like, it's my hobby, and I don't do it for money or fame or cash or anything like that. It's just a chance to make some videos, learn filmmaking and video making, and pass on some knowledge that was given to me for free somewhere down the line previously. You pick things up as you go along. Some things you learn yourself, some things you learn from books, magazines, people tell you things on the bank. It all builds up into experience over a long period of time. And, we all learn by passing on our experiences, and that's all I'm doing. And I don't want paying for it. I get a bit off YouTube, yeah, but, that's not my motivation for doing it. Like, it's just a hobby, something to pass the time and keep me going. So, yeah, there we go. That's my opinion on Patreon and pay-per-view channels. Like, I think that are a complete waste of time. I don't know why anybody would pay for them, but other people will have a different opinion. And you guys who are watching now, like, feel free to chip in. That's your cue to chip in, lads. Silence. Oh well. I'm guessing the pay-per-view subject's not going very well then. How are you doing, guys? Anyway, Andy, Gary, how are you getting on? I caught a fish at the weekend, by the way. Just thought I'd tell you that Andy knows because he's seen a picture of it. But I actually didn't blank at the weekend, which is quite good for me of late. I don't know how you guys are getting on in your own fishing, but I found the fishing this year has been extremely hard. There's been a lot of people furloughed, off work, on the bank, a lot more than usual. It's madness. The angling pressure on some of the waters has been literally unbearable, and I've noticed on the waters I fished that the runs have dried up. I had a period in the summer where, when we came out of lockdown, I caught a fish when we came out of lockdown. I had a few more, and then it died. And the water that was fishing had 10 or 12 bivvies on it every day, and lads shouting across the lake to each other because they were having to stay so far apart. They were having conversations with each other from swim to swim. So of course the fish all shut up shop and didn't come out. Everywhere's a nod fest. That's right, Paul. Yeah, evening, Paul. Welcome, mate. Everywhere's been a nod fest, mate. And the runs though, they just dried up, Paul. I went I've been going like 10 or 12 sessions with no fish, or maybe one, and then I'll catch one or two, and then it'll go the same again. And it's been quite bad. The only time it picked up was when we went on to what we call work party month. So you'll know what club's water I'm talking about there, Paul, as will Andy, and probably Gary as well. Some waters are shut on a monthly basis for work party ticket holders. We do the work parties. Now, when it went on to work party month, the lake emptied out and there was only one or two people on at most each day, and the runs I was getting went back to what they used to be. So I was picking up 2 or 3 fish in the evening. So while the angling pressure was on it, it was 1 or 2 fish every 10 sessions or so, to 2 or 3 fish in the evening, and then back again. As soon as it came off work party and everybody piled back on again, the runs dried up, and it's been quite shocking. I've never seen anything like it. I can't wait for furlough to end, and I hope this vaccine they've got, this 2-part vaccine that they're bringing out, is going to be good, because we need to get back to some semblance of normality, and I'd like to see the fishing get back to normal and not be so hard. But I've struggled last month. Through September and October, I really struggled, but I managed to bank a fish on Saturday, my first one in quite a while. So I found it hard work. I've been getting done a lot as well. Knock on the rod tip, bow wave off the bait, no run, or screaming run and fresh air. They're definitely really nervous on rigs, and with so many lines in the water for months on end, it's easy to see why they've gone quite paranoid. But hopefully now we're getting over it. It's just a case of thinking your way around it, isn't it? I've made a couple of changes. I picked up a fish on Saturday, which is encouraging. Unfortunately, we're going into winter, so I don't think it's going to last. But there we go. Yeah. So Andy, Leon said he was going. I watched that and I thought that no. I haven't unsubscribed from his channel, but if the only content he puts on there now is like tonight, announcing the winner of his CC Moore's bait on his pay-per-view channel, then I'm going to be unsubscribing myself, mate. I'm not going to say stay subscribed to that, or if he puts stuff on it, basically if he uses his YouTube channel just to advertise for his pay-per-view, then I'll probably unsubscribe myself, because I would never pay to watch someone's content on YouTube. It's just not the done thing. Like Gary B, good mate, won't be paying any content for £5 a month. No. It's sad times. Plenty of free stuff available to keep us going. That's right, there is. And I mean, I've seen a few discussions on this over the past week. Like Johnny Tosh put something on his Chasing Chunks TV channel, which is the Facebook page of his YouTube channel. And I had me say on there, and I think it was Danny from Danny's Angling blog said, you know, some of us will just keep doing rough-arsed content. And I thought, yeah, I gave him a thumbs up for that comment, like, because it pretty much describes my content down to the ground, rough-arse. I'm no video editor, and I'm no artist or anything like that. I can make a video, but it's usually to the point. You know what I mean? I know what I want to say, and I'm just going to turn the camera on and say it. You know, none of these arty-farty shots and stuff like that. I'm not very good at doing them. So we never had digital media as a subject in school when I was at school. Like you did physics or woodwork or metalwork. You know, you didn't do like digital media and video production and stuff like that, like the kids do today. So I was not very good at this kind of stuff. Like that's why it's my hobby, because I just want to learn it. You know, I don't like to be out of date. I'm not down with the kids by any stretch, like, but I like to be able to, you know, keep abreast of what's going on in the world of, well, I wouldn't say digital media, just say computers and, you know, advancements in technology and stuff like that. That's why I do it in the first place, like this. It keeps me up to date. So, yeah, but yeah, content's £5 a month, £6 a month. No, you haven't done much with the lockdowns. No, Andy, I didn't think you had. You haven't been out for ages, have you? I know you've had the odd session here and there, like, and generally you've not been doing much. Disillusioned with how busy the waters were and the bloody mitten crabs on the river. Yeah, they drove you nuts, didn't they? I don't suppose there's much you can do about them, mate. The mitten crabs are there forever. I know you had a little dodge with the dog food to try and get round them, like, but it's only going to do you so much good. What you really need in there is a crayfish trap to get rid of them. I've heard people say, oh, well, if you take the big ones out, it just leaves more of them to breed because they don't eat each other. But I don't know. I think I'd rather they were out than in, because, you know, the adults are just going to produce more and more. And the quicker you can get rid of them, the better. So I would be inclined to trap them out, mate. But that's me. Other people say leave them alone. How do you choose which one to subscribe to? You could end up subscribing to many and costing a fortune. And that's the thing, isn't it? You know, I mean, there was too many fishing magazines around at one stage. I can remember like Big Carp, Carp World, and then Carp Talk came along, Big Fish World, and then Catch More Carp, and you know, a few others as well. Like I used to get about 4 or 5 at one stage in the 90s, and slowly but surely, like I just put a stop to them. So, well, this one's not very good, get rid of that. This one's not very good, get rid of that. And when the internet came along, I got rid of all of them. I just I cancelled my subscription to every magazine I was subscribing to and picking up from the newsagents, and spent it on the internet bill instead. And got to say, I never looked back. But, you know, I'm not the only one who did that, obviously, like, because there's no magazines around anymore, or very few of them. But I suppose you would subscribe to your favourites, Andy. You know, everybody's got them. I wouldn't call Leon Carp Dog or Dave Lane favourites of mine. Like, I don't know. I've seen some of the content, like, but nothing that I think, well, yeah, I'm going to pay for this. It's no. Elliot Gray's Psychography would be one. See, I don't even know what psychography is. Never seen it. It's a digital magazine that covers many subjects and topics, but I still wouldn't subscribe. Is that what it is? Is Psychography a subscription magazine, Andy? Because I've never read it, never seen it. I've seen it mentioned loads of times, like, and some people saying it's a good read and stuff like that. But I just assumed it was pay, and I haven't bothered reading it or watching it. I don't tend to read much in the way of content anyway these days. Like, I found it boring. That's why one of the reasons I came on the internet and got rid of Carp, because it was getting dull reading it. You used to go from reading back to front loads and loads of times, like, and then you just end up, oh no, well, that article's on France, don't want to read that article, I've done that before, it's all just rehashed, and you just start reading it less and less and less, and you get to the point where you're thinking, why am I subscribing to this? And, it's the end of the line then, isn't it? And the one thing magazines need is new blood coming into the hobby. Without it, they don't survive. Trapping them as a job on a commercial level already. There's that many of them. I wouldn't have thought there was that many of them, Andy, but you know, you want to do a few rounds at the local chippies and places like that, and food restaurants, and ask them if they want them. Trap some out and take them round and see if you can get yourself a bit of cash on the side. If it's a commercial level already, if there's that many of them, it's a commercial level, then hopefully, like, someone will take it up and start doing it, because they've got to go, haven't they? They're non-native as well, aren't they? I'll take it to the signal crayfish. Elliot Gray is very good at it. I don't even know who Elliot Gray is, mate. I'll be honest. I know I've got a YouTube channel, like, and I don't tend to consume much in the way of fishing content these days. Like, it's just something that I'll watch now and again. But I spend more time watching other stuff that's not fishing related on YouTube. It's just one of those things, isn't it? Anyway, I'll have a look around at it, like Psychography. Maybe I should Google it now while we're on, and I can take a look at it. Because I do see it mentioned a lot, like, and I was thinking it was somewhere along the lines of Subsurface. There was a magazine called Subsurface, wasn't it? Psychography. Oh right, okay. So it looks like videos. Is that right? Feature films, short films, day in the life. Do you have to pay for these, Andy? I'm looking at the Psychography page, like, but have you got to pay to watch that, or is it all free? Very good, high quality content, but is it free? Do you have to pay? Because I can see like a login and a subscribe button and stuff like that. Join now. Yes, you've got to pay. Right, okay. Obviously, I'm not going to be watching that then. A few free ones. Yeah, I'm guessing that's the free ones I'm looking at now. Like, I might have a watch of a free one or something like that and see what it's like. But to be honest, got some big names on it. Some very big names. But I'm not sure it's worth paying for. $7.99 a month. Is that how much it costs? $7.99 a month. Oh my God. Yeah. That could be another thing, actually, with so many people putting their content behind paywalls and there's only so much cake to go around. Either someone's going to fail at it, which I would imagine quite a few would, or they're going to have to, because of competition, in order to get people to subscribe to them in the first place, they're going to have to lower their prices. Because $7.99 a month is disgusting, to be quite honest. I mean, how much were fishing magazines monthly these days? Only £4 or £5, something like that. Like to Carp World when they were around, I can't remember spending more than £4 on one. Maybe £3.50. I don't know. I don't know how much they were when they stopped, like, because I stopped getting them 20 years ago. But $7.99 a month seems a lot to me. You wouldn't pay much more than that for watching Sky Sports or something like that. You know, it's a lot. I know his films are good and high quality, like, but how many of them do you get a month for your £8? You know, you'd want one a day for that much. Yeah, and there you go, Gary. Yeah, Netflix is only $5.99, and yeah, you know, here's a minority, you know, carp fishing channel charging $7.99. It's overpriced. £5's overpriced for YouTube. The right price for YouTube is £0. You know, people on YouTube already get money off advertising revenue once you reach 1,000 subscribers, and I think is it 4,000 watch hours or something like that, or 400. I'm not sure. I'd have to check that one, but you know, once you get over your 1,000 subscribers and your watch time goes up to a reasonable amount, then you know you get advertising revenue anyway. It's only a few quid, pennies to start with, and then you know, the longer you build your channel for, the more you get. So I don't see why you should be charged for it. You're already getting something back off it, and it's not a I don't think it is anyway. It's not a way to make a living, YouTube. I know there's always a few people around who end up with hundreds of thousands or millions of subscribers, and they do quite well, and they make a lot of money out of it, but they are the 0.1%. Everybody else, it's not a viable business, not a viable way to make money, and that's how it is. I think your average YouTube channel has, or most YouTube channels, I think, are only 10% are monetized, something like that. So they've got over 1,000 subscribers and they're earning off ad revenue. There's only about 10% of YouTubers who actually get to that stage. Most don't. And I think, well, certainly mine is, and the likes of Danny's Angling blog is in the top 5% of YouTubers. But you know, the vast majority don't make any money at all, don't have 1,000 subscribers, and aren't going to get anywhere with it. But if you're doing it on a regular basis and putting those videos out all the time over the years, like, it can build up, and I think that's where you get your money from. But pay-per-view, no. Yeah, and I won't even pay for Netflix, by the way, Gary. I've got no subscription to Netflix. I haven't got any kind of Sky package at all. The only television I watch is Freeview, whatever's on Freeview, and I make do with that. I don't watch much telly, to be honest. Anyway, it's mainly YouTube, and that's all free as well. You know, don't pay to watch that. In this day and age, like, there's no need to cough up anything. The internet's always been the Wild West for me. It's where you can get everything for free. So I'm very much in the camp of it should stay that way. But I'm not the only one by the looks of it. Are you still here, Paul, by the way? How are you doing? If you are, it's been a while, mate. I see you managed to find your way here. There's not many people have. Like it's. I'm live streaming on a second YouTube channel. It's not on my main one. Like, I just thought I'd keep the live streams off that, like, and just stick to this one. So I'll be doing them on here from now on, like, to keep the two separate. And who knows, over time, if I can build this one up to 1,000, then might start getting some money in. Yeah, you're still here. Nice one, mate. How's your year going, Paul? Have you been doing much? Have you been out much? I've seen one or two pictures from you on Instagram, like, but I've kind of gone off Instagram. I'm not posting much on there these days, probably because I'm not catching anything. But I'm not posting much on there anyway. It's on my phone. I can look at Instagram on my phone. And I go through the pictures now and again and give someone the odd thumb up. But in general, I don't bother with it these days. It was quite popular a year or two ago. Instagram, like, there's loads of people on it, and a lot of pictures and stuff that you wouldn't normally see on the Tinterweb. People seem to put it on Instagram, thinking it was okay. They'd avoid Facebook and stuff like that because it obviously gets seen quite a lot. But they'd put it on Instagram, and there was loads of, like, fish from around the northwest area that you wouldn't normally see. They're usually on the secret list. So it's quite good, but it's gone kind of downhill a little bit. So I don't go on there very much. Used to see it on there quite a bit, Paul. Instagram, I think I saw one of your posts the other week as well. But like I said, I'm not bothering with it so much these days. Instagram. That's free as well. Get your content on there for free. Look at people's pictures, work out where they're from. It's better than reading a magazine. If you don't know where it is, a polite ask might get you somewhere. Although I never regard asking where someone's caught a fish from as polite. It's just something you don't do. Andy Lomax, all right, mate. Good evening. Where are you from, Andy? I'm a bit senile in my old age, Andy. Like, I don't remember seeing you on here before. St. Helens, right? Okay, nice one. Happy days. Yeah, I think most of us are in the northwest. Like, Gary B's in Wirral or Liverpool. Andy Clark's in North Wales. Paul's in the Stokey on Trenty way. So we're all kind of, or most of us are local to the northwest, mate. So nice to see you in here. Work's been mental, so struggled a bit. Had a nice run of fish end of the summer. Yeah, I saw that, mate, just fishing days. Oh, it set on the big res again, but scuppered. All my plans got scuppered this year, Paul. I had plans to do this, that, and the other, and I ended up doing none of it. I actually wanted to crack a bit of a crack at Reedsmere as well, and I never got there. We went into lockdown in March, and that was the end of it. But I was kind of hoping to get on, those last few weeks of the season, just when they start coming out. And I was hoping to get on there early in the summer when they were all stacked in the shallows. I was hoping to get on and maybe get a fish out, like just doing days. But it never came off. We ended up in lockdown and all over the place, and everything just went arse over tits, basically. And so all the plans I had, I ended up doing nothing. And I'm kind of stuck now as well. Like, I've had it. I don't think I'll be fishing off the Wirral for the next few years. Like, Yeah, get the jobs out. I just hope they work, Andy. I've worked all through lockdown. It hasn't stopped for me. Like, although I do work from home, I just have a laptop like that I stick on the desk, and I've carried on work and I haven't stopped. But I must admit, I'm struggling a bit, like, because I just don't get out anymore these days. I was fishing a couple of times a week in the summer when we had the late nights, and it was light until 10 o'clock. I'd finish work at 5, grab my rods from by the door and go. And, I could fish midweek as well as the weekend when I'm off. And I was fine, like, I was getting out a little bit, but now the clocks have gone. The only day I can go fishing is a Saturday. And I roll out of bed in the morning, walk into this room, which is this room is actually an upstairs bedroom converted into an office. And I walk in here, sit down, put the laptop on, go to work, 8:30. Clock off at 5 o'clock, put the laptop away, and I'm still in here. I'm in here till I go to bed. And it's rinse and repeat every day. Get up, come in here, put the laptop on. And I never really get to go anywhere. It's, all my work is in the Whittle, stairlift engineer. So I just go when the shifts are out. Right, Andy, I didn't know you were a stairlift engineer. Do you know, you might know this fella. John Rayner. Do you know John Rayner? Does his name ring any bells with you? No answer from Andy. No, mate. Who does he work with? He works for these people. Don't know if you can see that at the bottom. Mobility Appliances Limited. He's a nice guy. He put the stairlift in my auntie's house, and I've got a quote off of me for the stairlift for the house that I'm buying. It's got it's a curved staircase. It's not just a straight up and down one. The staircase goes through 180 degrees as it goes up. So it starts at you're looking one way at the bottom, and when you get to the top, you're looking the other way. And this is a quote for that stairlift. I'm thinking of getting them to put one in here as well, in this house that I'm in now. Yeah, the curved is expensive. Like, the quote was 4,400 is the quote. But I don't actually know if I'm going to buy the house yet. Like, I just got them to quote for it, because it would need to be fitted before I move in. But there are other issues with the house, other contractual issues that will probably see me pull out. And if I do, I'll get them to put one in here where I am now. But I thought he was the only fella on Whittle who did stairlifts. I didn't know there was anybody else doing it. You never know, you might get some work off me one day, mate. Yeah, the curved one. They have to do what you call it. He has to measure up, and then they have to do like a CAD drawing for it, and specially design it, and then specially make it. And it then has to be fitted. And I think every time they put a curve on to go around the corner or something like that, it adds about £200 or £300 to the bill, depending on how, for each curve. It's quite a good way of, quite a good living to be made out of that, I think. He certainly seems to do all right anyway. Yeah, custom for each staircase. He seems to have like standard ones that just go up and down in one line, and then anything beyond that curved is the price goes up considerably. Like, but he does whittle, John, and he's a sound guy. Like, he's done, like I said, he's done a few for us. One of my aunties, he comes along and services it every now and again, like, and make sure it's all right. I actually had to get him to take it out while we relayed the stair carpets. So I had to get him in to undo it, take it to bits, and then once it fitted the carpets up the stairs, I had to get him back in to put it back together again. But these are the things you'd have to do. But they are handy though, Mason. I'll give you that. My auntie loved theirs when she was alive, and my mum, who needs one now, is looking forward to getting one, shall we say. But good stair lifts, mate. Nice one. But, I'll find you on Facebook, Andy, and I might add you there, because there may come a time when I need to speak to you, mate, about that if you're doing installations, like, because a lot of my family are old. As in, when I say old, like they're in their 80s, and they're all struggling with various ailments and stuff like that. I've already lost my auntie this year to COVID. She was 92, and my mum was struggling. Her knees collapsed. She's on the list for a knee replacement, like, so she doesn't walk very well. So I'm just looking for you now, mate. I'm going to search for you, see if I can find you. Search Facebook. Here's one. St. Helens College, holding a picture of what looks like a carp or a small barbel. Is that you, Andy? Hi, Peter. Just finished work. Catch up with the rest later. You haven't missed much, mates. Basically, you're just moaning about pay-per-view carp fishing and saying we're not paying it. No, that's not you, St. Helens College. Stockport. Holding the little girl on the profile. I'll have to click see all. Has she got a dummy in her mouth, Andy? I'll add you later. Nice one. I'll leave you to do that then, mate, because there's a lot of Andy Lomaxes around. Yeah, quite a few of them have got kids as well, by the look of it. Yes. I tell you what, mate, you add me, because I'm not sure I'll get the right one. All right, okay. Peter, how you doing, mate? Everything all right? Are you still getting out fishing, Peter? Are you all still getting out fishing? I know Andy's not done very much, Andy Clark. When he goes fishing, I know about it, like, because he's a mate anyway. But how are the rest of you doing? Still getting out, still catching? You were going on it when you were fishing. Well, I have a tendency of doing that myself, Peter, to be honest. I go on Facebook while I'm fishing. Sometimes in the afternoon, like, I'll just, if nothing's happening, no fish is showing, and I'm sitting there waiting for bite time, knowing that, I'm reasonably in the right place and I'm happy, then I'll quite often go on Facebook or something like that, or Instagram, to take my mind off things. Because there's nothing worse than sitting looking at your rods wound up, waiting for one of them to go off, because they never go. They tend to, like, if you let your mind wander, make a cup of tea, look around, go on your phone, you're not like that at your rods all the time, then you have a tendency of going off. So you've got to learn to relax, and yeah, quite often Facebook is okay for doing that. So don't knock it, mate. It does have its advantages. Young prepper, evening, mate. Where are you? Are you northwest based? I think you're new here as well, mate. So I'll ask you where you are and all that. Most of us are local to the northwest in the UK. I'm expecting a response from you there, Peter. I don't know if you know that. I'm sitting there waiting for something to pop up, and it's not. No. Hopefully the Peter's been called away. That happens, doesn't it? It's happened to me a few times when I've been on people's live streams. I've had to disappear, come back at a later date. I've got to say, it's quite quiet here tonight. I was expecting word to have got around after coming back last week, but obviously it hasn't. Probably need to put a post on Instagram, don't I? Because that's where a lot of the lads were hanging out. Did you answer the question about you missing things, not night fishing? No, I didn't, did I? Yeah, that was a question you sent me, wasn't it, Peter? Do I miss not night fishing or anything about it, or do I think I'm missing things by not being there? No, mate, I don't. I'm very careful with the waters of fish. I like to know that they're going to produce in the daytime, because all waters have a bite time. You know, a time of day when you switch on, like you can fish there for 24 hours, and you might only catch fish at dusk or at dawn or in the middle of the afternoon, 2 till 4 or something like that. They've all got their different times. I fish some waters where the first light is the best time. Sometimes it's mid-morning, or from first light to mid-morning is like 4-hour spell when the vast majority of the fish get caught. And as long as I know the bite time on the water, I won't bother doing any more time. I'll just fish, an hour or two either side of bite time. Like the water I'm fishing at the moment, I know it will switch on sometime between 1:30 and 3:30. There's a chance of a bite. So I will rock up at midday on Saturday and fish till 4 o'clock. And that's it. That's all the time I'll do. I'll just do those 4 hours. So I'm sitting here in the office, working all day, not getting out much, looking forward to 4 hours fishing on a Saturday. And I won't go any more than that. There's no point in sitting there in the morning when the bites don't come till 1:30 till 3:30. It's a complete waste of your time. Now, I tend to avoid, Peter, lakes which have a bite time of 1 till 3 a.m. Early hours of the morning. If the majority of fish are caught at night or nocturnally, then I just won't bother fishing it. I don't really feel like I'm missing out by not fishing that lake. I just think I'm not wasting my time, because I'm not going to go back to night fishing again. I didn't like it. Bivvy life's not exactly great. Those bed chairs are no good for your back, and I've got a bad one from being on a bed chair like this. The nights that I used to do didn't help my back, and I suffer with it now. So I generally don't bother doing them. What I found was when I went to Cape Storm in the 90s and fished there, is that I didn't need to do nights. That was a days only water. And not only did I not need to do them, they were a great leveler. They leveled the playing field big time. Because, there's nobody there camping and boring them out, basically. I prefer to go fishing for them. My favourite way of fishing is off the barrow. So I'll stick myself on the barrow and just wander around with my rods and look for them. And wherever I see them, I'll drop in. And yourself. It's first rule of carp fishing: location, location, location. If you stick a bait in a swim full of fish, one of them's going to investigate it, and usually soon. And I get a lot of runs within an hour or so of fishing. I remember when I fished Cape Storm, I think 75% of my runs, 3/4 of them, within 1 hour of casting in. Because I'd be walking around the lake looking for them and just dropping baits where I saw them. They wouldn't take them all the time, but when they did, it's usually within the hour. And my fishing's still like that these days. Like, I expect results quickly, and sometimes I get them and sometimes I don't. Usually I do, but of late, like I said, with all the angling pressure, it's been very difficult to get on the fish in the first place. And the fish are so finicky or just not interested in eating because of the noise and the racket and all the lines in the water and the pressure on the place, that it's been quite difficult year for me. I've never had a year when I've caught as little as I have this year. And I'm hoping like that next year's going to be better. Yeah, I move a lot, mate. Quite often 2-3 times in a session. I could go for the afternoon into the evening. I'll turn up at, on a typical summer's day, I'll turn up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon and fish till 10, get 8 hours in. And in that time, I can move 2 or 3 times. Sometimes I'll stay put, and other times I'll be on my toes. Even on these short sessions I'm doing now, 12 till 4, to cover an afternoon feeding spell, I'll quite often start in one swim and do 2 hours in it, and then move to another one and do 2 hours in there. Based on that, I do that based on fish movements around the lake and bite times around the lake. Some areas of the lake will produce, early 1:30. In that, still in the same window, like 1:30 till 3:30, but some swims will produce earlier, 1:30, and some are known to produce later, like 3:15, 3:30. So I'll quite often split my time between the swims, 2 hours in one, 2 hours in another. I keep all my gear packed. I put my chair out, and everything else stays either on the barrow or basically ready to go. So, and I could just pick up and go, take my rods, take my pod, drop my gear wherever I want, and start again. I only put a brolly up when it rains. If it's windy, I'll just put up with it. If it's a cold wind, I usually got a thermal suit on, and that does me. But I never put a brolly up unless it rains, and my gear's always, good to go inside a minute or two. I can be gone before someone's even folded the bed chair to pack the gear away. If they've got a bivvy up or something like that, I could do a lap of the lake by the time they got the bivvy down. So I can move pretty quick when I need to, but if I don't need to move, I won't. But it's just, you learn your water as you go along, don't you? And you learn these little tips and tricks that will squeeze you an extra chance out here and there. And moving's a good one, a very good one. So there you go, mate. No, I don't think I'm missing out. Is that a good enough answer? Can't really think of anything else to say about it, really, other than, for the time that you go fishing on days, you work your arse off. You never stop looking at the water. Even when I'm talking to people, I'm not looking at them, I'm looking at the water. Andy will tell you that. It's, I've fished with Andy once or twice, like, and he's sitting there, you know, although you're side by side looking at the lake, you're not looking at each other when you're talking, you're looking that way. And Andy will tell you that. It's nothing personal or anything like that. It's just you're focused on the water and where the fish are and getting on them. And whatever they're doing, or whatever they are, you've got to get a bait in front of them. Whether that's, you know, they could be on the top, in which case I get a floater rod out. If they're rolling in the swim, then I'll just underarm a couple of baits out onto them, or cast to wherever they are. Or if it's a deep water and they're rolling, I might get the zigs out. Just whatever method suits. Knowing how deep the swim is that they're in, and why they're there. And, quite often, like, once you've got a water cracked, it can be quite easy to catch them. An all-rounder, fish for lots of species. I don't really fish for the few. I mean, I do a bit of lure fishing for pike and perch in the winter, and I do a bit of barbel fishing in high summer. What affects me? The time of year. Not so much the weather, but the time of year. There's a video on my channel, Peter. I don't know whether you've seen it, but it's called Carp Season Analysis. Carp fishing tips, carp season analysis. It's over on my other channel, on my main channel, and it's a look at catch rates right through the season. So from January to December, I actually fished the water from the beginning of January to the end of December with no gaps. Went right through. That was back in the 90s. It'd just been made redundant, and I bought a bed share and a bivvy with me severance pay, and I just went fishing. I literally went fishing for what turned out to be 3.5 years. I was virtually a full-timer, which is why I don't do it anymore. I was fishing like Tuesday to Friday every week, like through January to December, Tuesday to Friday, 3 days a week, pretty much. And I blew myself out after 3.5 years of doing that. Like, I had to stop. Blew myself out. My back was a mess, and I just thought, you know what, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'll get a job. And I went back to work, and I've been working ever since. So, and when I did go back to me fishing, which was a few months later, I just did days. I started fishing Cape Storm, and that was it. But it's the time of year, mate. If you look at the catches on there, then you can see why it change. You know, summer, I'll go high summer, I might do a bit of barbel fishing. Not every year. I haven't done any for the last 2 years because the River Severn's quite away. But I'll switch to barbel fishing in the summer, so like July, August. Then we've got the light nights up, you know, until 10 o'clock. An evening on the river is quite good. And I'll fish the river then. It's warm, the river's low, there's no slippy banks, and it's nice and comfortable fishing, like, and that's when I like the river. So that's why I go there in the summer. I go lure fishing November, December, maybe January. If you look at the catch rates on the carp season analysis, you'll see that they're the lowest. December was a disaster. January, a couple of fish. February, a few fish. And then it really starts picking up in March. So perch and pike are more adapted to cold water than carp are. Carp are a warm water fish. I know I've fished for them through winter, and I still do to an extent, but not as much. You're quite happy to swap to those other species, knowing that bites will be easier to get. So it's cherry picking the best times of year to get your bites. You know, March, April, May, carp fishing definitely. June, July, August, get on the barbel. You know, we've had the close season, like, and they haven't been hammered, so the barbel fishing's quite good. And then winter time, when it gets hard, then lure fishing will get you a bite or two. So it's just a case of, I've learned over the years the best times to go. So it's not really related to the weather. I don't really mind what the weather's doing. I tend to swerve the river if it rains, because if the banks are slippy like that, I don't want to end up on my arse or in the drink, or, you know, a couple of miles from my car with a broken leg or something like that. So I generally wait until it's dry before I go to the river. But apart from that, mate, it's all to do with the time of year and the seasons, rather than any particular weather pattern. So that's it. You should watch the carp season analysis. Like, if you look at the peaks and troughs of when you're catching carp throughout the year, then you can see why the changes are there. It's how I fish. It's just how I've evolved. Yeah, you watch the balls. Nice one, mate. Happy days. It's good to explain to people, actually, because they look at that video. Like, some people have commented on it and some haven't. It hasn't done as well as I'd hoped, that carp season analysis video, but I thought it was quite interesting to see the ups and downs of when the catches come, like, and so you know when the best times are. But it's done okay. You know, it's in line with some of the rest of my videos, but it's not been brilliant. Cheers, Paul. Early stars. Happy days. My live stream's only an hour long now anyway, mate, and I'm at 1 hour and 2 minutes, so I'm not going to be here much longer myself, Paul. Hopefully, like, I'll speak to you next week and see you next week, mate. So take it easy. Yeah, with Paul going and reminding me he's got to be up early, and I've just realised it's 9 o'clock, and I'm only doing hour longs from now on. I might take it back to 2 hours if it gets popular again, but at the moment I'm going to keep it to the 1 hour. Yeah, Gary B, cheers, mate. Thanks for popping in. You've been quite quiet tonight, Gary, compared to last week, but nice to have you here, mate, all the same. Take it easy and take care of yourself. Andy Lomax, Andy Clark. Too many Andys. Getting mixed up. Peter. I hope them answers were all right for you, mate. If you come back on next week and that's something else, I can just give you the straight answer. But, yeah. I'll say good night, as it's a little after 9 o'clock and we've done our hour. So take it easy, guys. Take care of yourselves. And I'll see you next week.